Would you be the jerk for refusing to read someone's tarot? We'll get into that in a bit, but first, am I the jerk for not wanting our friend to ever come back to our house after he ate literally everything we owned? My husband and I live abroad. Earlier this year, a mutual acquaintance, let's call him K, reached out, saying he'd been scammed with an apartment rental and had nowhere to stay. At first, we only offered a weekend, but he was polite, helped around the house, and seemed grateful, so we ended up letting him stay the full 20 days he'd asked for. During that time, some things rubbed us the wrong way. He never bought groceries, and multiple times he pretended he was going to pay but forgot his wallet, or claimed he could only use Apple Pay, not accepted at our local supermarket. He would eat way more than his share. Once my husband and I shared half a pizza and he ate the other pizza and a half without contributing. Still, we felt bad for him, so we let it go. We stayed friendly, and a few months later, we were planning a 17-day trip. Since he was struggling with rent, we offered him to stay at our place in exchange for taking care of our dog. I even wrote a Google Doc with instructions for the house, dog care, gym access, etc. I told him he could eat anything that was going to expire. Fruit, veggies, yogurt, etc. When we came back, everything was gone. And I mean everything. The entire fridge, freezer, pantry. He finished 2 jars of jam, a jar of peanut butter, a giant Costco bottle of olive oil, condiments, rice, snacks, cheese, even my husband's supplements. Creatine, protein, collagen. He completely destroyed a ceramic pan. He consumed things that usually last us 6 months in just 2 weeks. I honestly suspect he might have taken stuff with him because it's insane how much was missing. I didn't confront him except to ask him to replace the pan, which he mocked me about. It's just a pan, why are you making it a big deal? I feel deeply disrespected. Now he keeps texting me acting like nothing happened and wants to hang out. I told my husband I don't want him in our home ever again. My husband says I'm being too harsh, and if he wants to stay friends, that's his choice. But I feel completely taken advantage of and disrespected. So, am I the jerk for not wanting to see this guy ever again and refusing to let him come back to our house? Can I just ask, what is OP's husband getting out of the friendship with this guy? Like, is it one of those things where it's like, listen, honey, I know he wrecked our entire house, all of our groceries for months, destroyed a pan and all, and didn't replace any of it, but he's my ball buddy. Who else am I gonna watch football with? Like, what does the guy get out of it? It's fun to hang out with him once in a while. We laugh and stuff. Like, surely OP's husband can do better. Smoochno commented, he didn't consume it all in that time. He emptied your place and took it back to his to last him a while. He stole from you like he was on a shopping spree. Also, hi, I'm Steven, and if you guys enjoy getting to decide whether or not all of these people are jerks, why not hit those like and subscribe buttons down below? That said, our next story is, am I the jerk for stopping a long line of people because someone was touching me? I'll keep it brief. I went to an MLS soccer match with my family last night. As the match ended and everyone is descending the steps, a man brushed his hip against my butt. I assume this is accidental. Then he does a little hip thrust into my butt. I pause and look over my shoulder and keep moving. The third time, he pressed his whole body to my back, and so I stopped walking, turned around, and screamed in his face to stop touching me. Then I kept walking and found my family, and we left. My father and husband are upset and think I made a scene. Even my mother said that I didn't need to react so strongly, but I don't know. If you touch me like that repeatedly and it escalates like that, I am going to scream at you, or maybe swing. But I am curious what the rest of the world thinks outside of my family circle. Am I the jerk? Yeah, no, OP's not the jerk here. I don't know if they're like kind of downplaying it in their mind, thinking like, oh, this is just innocent. You're leaving in a crowd. You're bound to bump into each other or something. But I mean, I think you can control yourself enough, even in a crowd departing an arena, to not thrust your body and hips into the woman in front of you. Like, this is an MLS soccer match you're leaving. Stop trying to go to second base. Lil Mushboom commented, not the jerk, that's literally SH. He was humping you in broad daylight. I'm more worried about your husband's reaction. He's more annoyed about a slight inconvenience than his wife being harassed by another man. Power Mama 77 replied, as women, we're taught not to make a big deal out of things. As humans, we experience things that we doubt because we feel like no one would really do this, or it isn't a normal thing to happen. When this touching started, you did what anyone would. assume it was accidental. The second time was suspicious, but let him know that you noticed. But the third time was unmistakable, and you gave him what he deserved. Your family are the jerks. You did the absolute right thing. If we women don't call this out when it happens, it'll happen to our daughters and granddaughters. Our next story is, am I the jerk for paying off my daughter's student loans, but not giving the same amount to her brother who didn't go to university? My husband passed away unexpectedly in early 2024 from a heart attack. I received a life insurance payout and have been managing it carefully. Recently, I used a portion, around $60,000, to pay off my daughter's student loans. Now, my son is upset, saying I'm playing favorites because I didn't give him the same amount of money as his sister. Back in 2005, my daughter was 18, very bright, but dealing with depression and unsure what to do after school. I pressured her hard to go to university because I thought it was the best path for her. She wasn't ready, but went anyway to please her father and I. She ended up doing history because it was the most tolerable thing to her, and she just wanted to get a degree to get us off her back. That degree didn't lead anywhere. She worked low-paying jobs for years and accumulated significant debt as her loan value increased due to indexation, similar to interest. At 30, frustrated with her employment prospects, she went back to university and got a law degree. In our country, law can be done as an undergrad. She now has a good job in that field, but her debt was basically double because of the degree she only did because I pressured her. I've always felt some guilt over that, and now that I'm in a position to help, I chose to pay off her loans. Edit, because I forgot to mention this, she was in the first few years of her law job paying back more than the minimum that she has to in an attempt to pay them down faster, so she was trying to help herself. Her younger brother never went to university. He's not academic, has never been very smart, always hated school and dropped out at 15, and I never pushed him the way I did her. He's been working as a postal delivery worker for years and has no student loans. When he found out I paid off her loans because I accidentally sent him a text message meant for her, he demanded the same amount in cash. I told him that I've done this specifically because it's an educational expense. Giving him cash will feel to my daughter like a punishment all over again. Her brother gets fun money and all she gets is the degree I pressured her to do paid off. And honestly, I don't think a lump sum would be good for him. He doesn't manage money well and tends to spend impulsively. Am I the jerk for saying no, given that I did this to correct what I feel was a mistake? Pushing my daughter into university before she was ready. So, first of all, it's OP's money, so in my opinion, OP's already not the jerk. I mean, OP was the beneficiary of that life insurance payout. You know, maybe if OP wanted to try to find a way to make it super fair in some way, you could even consider heavily controlled trust fund kind of thing. If OP wanted to, they could set up $60K in a program where the person actually running the trust will be able to decide if a disbursement is actually a worthwhile thing. So they can't just take $5,000 out and throw it away here or $5,000 out and throw it away there. Okay, Apricot6292 commented, not the jerk. It was kind of after the fact, but just tell them that you're happy to pay for college, or maybe training for a trade for him as well. I paid for my kids' college to help them, and as an incentive to go. No way would I have just handed over cash. Our next story is, am I the jerk? Ex's mother took my Kitchenaid mixer without asking. My ex and I split up recently and I came back to get my things. I noticed that my Kitchenaid mixer was missing. It's a $300 mixer that my brother had bought me when I first started my baking business, so it has sentimental value to me. That, and my brother lives in a different country, so I rarely see him, and as weird as it sounds, it's like having a piece of my brother with me. I had asked my ex about it a few times, and he said he thinks he's seen it at his mom's and would get it back for me. Since he's been pretty short with me as of late and tells me I nag and talk too much, I decided to stop asking him. I realized I had his mom's number and called her directly to ask about my mixer. She sounded weird and said that she would return it the next morning, but I still haven't seen it. My ex lives in a different state that's 4 hours from me, so I'm trying to get all my things before I go back home soon after selling off all the furniture. I find it odd that she would take my mixer without asking me, especially since we're not close and my ex has mentioned several times that his family prefers him single, without me. They also happen to take 2 of my sofas that I bought and another end table when they moved into apartments and haven't paid for them. My ex said that he would pay for them, but I hate when he picks up their slack. I guess if we were together, then what's mine is his, but they knew we were broken up. I know they probably think I'm making a big deal out of it, and at this point, I'm not sure if I am or not anymore. Am I the jerk? I don't care if that was a $10 Walmart knockoff of a slap chop. OP deserves to get that thing back. And hey, if that $10 knockoff Walmart slap chop reminds you heavily of your brother, then yeah, you especially deserve it back. But especially something that's probably still worth over at least $100. Yeah, you definitely are not the jerk for wanting that back and making a very clear stink about it. I, for one, would be very happy having another crisp $100 bill in equivalent Kitchenaid mixers lying around my house. Astrophysics Rules commented, "Not the jerk. What they did is called theft. Your ex's mother may have been told that she could take it. Make it clear this was never the case. Even if inconvenient if you're leaving in a few days, you may need to just swing by their place and collect it yourself. It's unlikely this woman will go out of her way to accommodate you in any way. You may also need to make it clear that you'll have no choice but to file a report for theft against your ex for all your missing belongings if they're not returned. Mummy may not like you, but she likely won't let her precious baby boy suffer the indignity." Our next story is, am I the jerk for doing a group Halloween costume with my stepdaughters that their mother doesn't approve of? I, 35-year-old female, am the stepmother of two lovely 10-year-old twin girls who I adore. I've been married to their father, 38-year-old male, for 5 years, and we dated for 2 years before that. I consider myself very close to them, and we always have fun whenever they stay with me and their father. They recently asked what kinds of movies I watched when I was their age, so it led to me digging out some old classics, most notably The Parent Trap. Of all the older movies I showed them, this one was their favorite. I think they got a kick out of seeing a movie about twins. They even delighted in the fact that in their opinion, I look like Meredith Blake. It's the hair, I think. In no way am I as gorgeous as Elaine Hendricks. It's become an inside joke of us, with me often putting on her voice and acting the part while they fall into hysterical giggles. My husband's even gotten into it and is playing the clueless Nick when we get into this playful spirit. The girls are staying with us for Halloween. They alternate who has them on holidays, and whoever has them for Halloween is in charge of the costume. The girls asked if I would do a group costume with them. I was touched and told them of course, and asked them what they wanted to do. I should have seen it coming. They wanted to do The Parent Trap, with them as the girls and me as Meredith. I found it harmless and agreed. My husband found it funny and said he would even dress as Nick then. I got a call from their mother today telling me that she'd heard of the costume and she didn't approve, that she felt it wasn't appropriate. I at first was touched and assumed that she worried about their stepmother being portrayed as a wicked gold digger, and told her it was fine. It was just an inside joke that had occurred that sparked this. That wasn't the issue. She didn't think it was appropriate for me to do a group costume with her daughters at all, and that it was clearly lazy and I was forcing it, as why else would her daughters want to do a costume from an old movie? I got rather upset here, but tried to stay calm on the phone, and I told her she might not approve, but it was harmless. And I'd been in the girls' lives for 10 years at this point. My husband, who was in the room during the call, could see that I was getting upset, so he took the phone off of me and began to get into it with his ex-wife, telling her that she could have all the issues she wanted, but it was an entirely proper costume for their age, and it had been the girls who suggested it, reminding her it was up to him what they dressed as this year, and he had approved of it. I got him to calm down as he was getting upset, and the call ended rather tersely. I just feel awful about this whole thing, and I wonder if I should just bow out of matching the girls in costume if it'll prevent further problems. I just know this will be a bigger thing down the line. Now, I don't know if you guys in the comments agree with me, but I would say the only way OP is the jerk here is if they do bow out. Like, OP's not being the jerk here, dressing up and making those girls as Halloweens, especially when you've been in their lives for 7 years. I mean, they're only 10 years old. OP was basically in their lives their entire consciousness. OP playing along and dressing up in that costume with them would probably be like making their entire year. Final Dirt 5250 commented, "Not the jerk. The girls' mothers isn't upset about the costume. She's upset that her daughters love you enough to want to do a group costume with you. This is 100% about our own jealousy and insecurity. Don't back down. The girls asked you, and it would hurt them if you pulled out now because their mom threw a fit." OP responded commenting, "I really don't want to back down. It means a lot to me that the girls asked me. I just worry that this could cause worse tension, which could be bad for the girls. I also hate that she feels jealous and insecure, as I think you're right there. I love the girls like they're my own, but I will never replace their mother. Our next story is, am I the jerk for telling a kid to shut up on the plane? Today I went on holiday with my wife. We sat in our designated seats, and in front of us there were 3 kids with the mother sitting on the row parallel to them. 2 of the slightly older kids, 10 to 12 years old, were well behaved, but the youngest, 8 to 9 years old, was such a spoiled little monster, shouting and screaming if he wouldn't get what he wanted, not listening to the mother to stay quiet or in his seat for taking off, pressing on the seat in front of him with his legs and so on. I was quite irritated and appalled by such bad behavior, and just looked at my wife with my eyes in disbelief since the mother tried to keep him under control. The flight took off, he got his iPad and watched cartoons, I had my headphones on and fell asleep. But as the plane landed quite far on the landing strip, we had to wait quite a while. The kids started screaming and shouting for this and that, throwing a tantrum, and I just had enough. Sat up a bit, looked at him and said, "Yo kid, you need to shut up." The kid stopped, said nothing, and the mom said, "He's just a kid," 2 times. But if you can't control your kid through the point that I hear him through noise canceling, it is a bit much. In my opinion, I did everyone a favor. Even his siblings were tired of him, with his brother saying, he's not wrong, but not exactly right, which I found a bit funny. Also, the boy that I told to shut up sat on his seat facing me and stared at me for a while in defiance, I suppose. Doubt I created a trauma or anything. Edit, we were on the plane for 20 minutes before departing. The flight was 1 hour and 20 minutes. We waited another 20 to 30 minutes before getting off after landing. Edit 2, after reading some of the comments, my wife brought to my attention the kid is younger. In her opinion, the kid is 4? I don't believe so, since the kid was quite articulate in his speech, knows how to use the iPad. Then again, I have no kids, so I leave it up to you. Maybe deduct some years. I didn't ask him personally. Now, I don't know if I have to be the bearer of bad news, but kids even before 4 years old at this point, in this day and age, they get handed the iPad as a default form of entertainment so much that there are a lot of them that know how to handle it and operate it very well. But it is a good sign, I feel, that the kid is well articulated, just, needs to articulate a little less, and preferably in somebody else's direction. Old Boy Shenanigans commented, as a parent myself, if my kid wasn't listening to me, which one of mine never listens to a word I say, if a stranger said what you did, I'd appreciate it. As the old saying goes, it takes a village to raise a child. You just happen to be a part of that village that picked the kid up on his bad behavior. Nom Chocolate replied, my kid is generally very good, but yeah, if he had a monster moment and none of my usual begging, bribing, and pleading didn't work, that line was a joke, FYI. A stern snip from a stranger would do the trick. He's never given anyone a chance, but still. Our next story is, am I the jerk for wanting to be a princess too? I, 18-year-old female, was invited to go to a Renaissance fair with a couple of my friends. It would be me and 2 other couples. Before asking me, they made sure that I wouldn't mind being the 5th wheel, which I don't. A few days after the couple that invited me, 18-year-old female and 18-year-old male, asked what I was thinking for my costume, I replied that I wanted to be a princess with a hennin. My friend replied that she was going to be the same thing, wearing a green dress. I said that I also wanted to be wearing green, but would settle for blue since she had already decided. But they were both pretty against me being a princess, even if wearing a different color. Their reason being that because it was a couple's costume for them, knight and princess, it would be weird if I also was a princess. They also added that people wouldn't be able to tell who was the couple between us. I feel like it's not that serious. We suggested other costumes. I suggested her being a lady-in-waiting, but she was very against that. And they suggested I be a court jester or wizard, but I would really like to wear a dress or something girly. By the end of the conversation, it seemed like everyone was getting a little frustrated, and my friend told me I could wear whatever I want and that it was my choice. But I'm not sure if she would still prefer me to not be a princess or be upset at me for doing so. So, would I be the jerk if I wore a distinct princess costume as well? OP's not the jerk here. They're going to the Renaissance fair. They want to dress up as a princess. God forbid they're the blue princess. You're gonna ruin our couples theme. They're gonna think you're trying to steal my man. Well, I'm sorry, Sally. I don't want to go around being the court jester. FastDad2232 commented, not the jerk. Arguing who gets to play the princess shouldn't be a thing after the age of 6. Kind of telling that she seems insecure who's going to be perceived as being with her boyfriend or not. Does she usually have jealous behaviors with you? Haunted Baby Attack replied, even 6-year-olds shouldn't act that way. If they do, the responsible adults around should be nipping it in the bud. Obviously, OP's friend didn't have anyone to do that back in kindergarten. Our next story is, am I the jerk for not making my son thank his stepmother first thing when we got home? My son, 11, got to go to his first professional football game with myself and his grandfather. The game was several hours away, so we made a weekend of it and got back just in time to shower, etc. to go to bed because school tomorrow. My wife of 5 years had the idea for us to go this weekend, and I organized everything from there with my dad. Well, I get home, unpack, etc., and she's just sitting quiet in our bedroom. For context, she did some house projects and cleaning over the weekend, which I really appreciated and think are amazing. When I was telling her that on the way home, she started huffing about me being messy. I'm not really messy, just not her level of clean, and saying that I'm ungrateful for what she did. She then went radio silent. So I ask her if she's going to talk to me at all since she barely said hi. She then tells me that her feelings are hurt that I didn't have my son come and tell her thank you for the weekend. I said, oh, I'm sorry. I was focused on getting him to bed, but he does know it was originally your idea. She starts in on how it would have taken 3 seconds for him to do it, etc. She keeps harping on him, and by extension, me, about not being grateful to her. I'd already told her thank you earlier in the day. Am I the jerk for not making my son thank his stepmother first thing when we got home? Edit, she said she was sharing her feelings, not necessarily her expectations, but wouldn't the cause of the feelings be an expectation? Update, kiddo thanked her today. She asked if he was prompted to do so, which made him feel bad. Yes, there are a lot of other issues with this being the most recent. I do think we're circling the drain. Yeah, this one feels kind of rough to me. Like, in a way, I feel like there was an attempted, level of communication with the whole, well, I'm just sharing my feelings, not expectations. Like, I hear that and I think, valiant effort, an attempt was made here. I mean, it almost sounds good on paper till you kind of really think about it. I mean, it's unfortunate to hear from OP that they're thinking it's kind of circling the drain. Fligwart commented, not the jerk. Why should he thank her for coming up with the idea? She didn't do anything. She's being petty and manipulative and keeping score with a literal child. Huge jerk. Our next story is, am I the jerk for refusing to read someone's tarot? I, female 31, like witchy things. Tarot cards. I make my own herbal tinctures. I'm fully vaccinated and believe in science, just getting that in. Crystals, etc. That being said, I consult tarot cards for fun. If I'm being audited by the IRS, I'm consulting an accountant, not tarot. My wife, 38, had a lump on her breast last spring, and I made her a doctor's appointment. Didn't consult tarot. Was benign, thank goodness. The most extreme I get would be having a run-of-the-mill bad day, consulting tarot, and using that to help inform what I might do next. Like, take a long bath or something. I have a friend, Grace, 30s, who's in legal trouble. I don't know if I can say here without breaking the rules, but her thing isn't a speeding ticket that you want to contest and show up in court for. This is a situation where she needs to hire her own lawyer and probably be prepared for some serious consequences. Anyways, she asked me if I could read her tarot to see the outcomes of the situation, and I refused. A, because she hasn't done anything yet, her court day is approaching, and as far as I know, she still doesn't have legal representation. And B, tarot cards might give a, it's fine answer, but a judge and jury in Massachusetts are going to decide on their own. I told her no, she should really find a lawyer. Grace got really upset, saying this would help her know what to expect and put her mind at ease and that I wasn't being a good friend. I think a good friend sometimes has to give their friends hard truths, but tarot doesn't always take that long and it could make her feel better. Am I the jerk? Edit, I just got 7 inbox requests for tarot readings. I'm not doing that. Also, to answer some questions, I use tarot as a soothing tool, an advice tool, and yes, for fun. I find it helps me think things through more. It's more than a party game to me, but it's not life and death. So I think OP's not the jerk here for the simple fact that they're not comfortable doing that. Maybe it's like an extreme example, but it's like a friend saying, "Hey, will you give me a back rub? It'll really take my mind off things." Like, Grace, I'm just not comfortable doing that. PLM56 commented, "Not the jerk. If she really wants to use tarot cards in such a high-stakes situation, unwise, but her choice, she needs to seek out someone who has similar beliefs in her validity. You were right to warn her to take real legal steps of her own, and right to refuse to do a reading if you felt that she was going to base her plans on it as opposed to the way that you utilize them." Saffron Kitty replied, "Even a professional reader who fully believes in their ability would steer clear of a client like that. That friend sounds like someone who would act fully on the reading outcome and then get aggressive at the reader if it wasn't exact." Edited to add, "I know I wouldn't read for her if she asked me." Our next story is, am I the jerk for yelling at my mom after she removed my college refund from my bank account? I, 21-year-old female, moved back home with my parents after being diagnosed with cancer last year. In remission now, I decided to stay home to attend community college since I don't have enough money saved to move back to university. This month, I finally got my college refund dispersed. I was planning to use my refund to catch up on my student loans from the previous university I attended since my cancer treatment deferment was ending soon. 2 days after I received my refund, I went to go check how much money I can use for my loan. I noticed that $500 from my account was missing and transferred to my mom's bank account. I have a joint bank account with my mom since it was made when I was a minor. I didn't mind her having access since she said it was a good idea for her to see my account for emergencies. I was confused and woke up my mom in the middle of the night to ask her why she removed $500 from my account. She said that she removed it because she thought it was a final computation or an extra refund from another class from my old university that my dad helped pay for. Context: I didn't receive aid for a summer class I took last year in my previous school since I didn't qualify enough units to qualify. I originally was enrolled in enough classes to qualify for aid, but had to drop them since I had to immediately get treatment for cancer. I was extremely confused because my dad let me use his card. Then why would she think that a refund would go back into my bank account? Then, when I kept asking for an explanation, she said, "I thought you would have noticed that your money is gone because I saw that you spent $5 at this store and $20 at another store. Don't you check your money before you buy anything?" And I told your dad that I removed the $500 from your account because I thought it was an extra refund from your class. I ended up yelling at her to put the money back in my account, that she can't just remove it without saying or clarifying anything first, and wouldn't stop until she gave me the money back. Even then, I just kept yelling at her out of frustration since I couldn't understand why she thought she could remove it because the bank statement says that my refund came from my community college, not from the other university I attended. I was just so mad because she spent 2 days relying on me finding out by just checking my phone to see how much money I had. The second she saw me the next morning, she started yelling at me for waking her up just for a small amount of money and that I should have asked her nicely for her to give my money back. I honestly don't know how to react at this point. Am I the jerk? Edit, I wanted to clarify that the refund I received is the leftover grant money from community college. I didn't pull out any student loans this year. I'm also considered an inactive student by my previous university since I was gone for a complete school year. I didn't qualify to pull out a student loan or receive financial aid specifically during the summer of 2024, which was when I took the class my dad helped pay for. My university already clarified to me that there was no extra loan or grant money that was expected to be dispersed for that summer. Every refund that I've ever received was always dispersed within the first 2 weeks of the same quarter. If I did receive one, I would have received a notification that it was being dispersed, and it wouldn't have taken a year for my university to give me a refund. Yeah, no, OP's not the jerk here. It's also crazy to me that they say, "Don't you check your account before you buy anything?" As if that doesn't immediately implicate them for taking the $500 and not paying close enough attention to why the $500 was there to begin with. Don't you ever look at the money before taking the money, Mom? I mean, let's put it like it is, they tried to steal from OP. Floating Cynic commented, "Not the jerk, this sounds like Darvo to me. $500 is absolutely worth losing sleep over, and if it hadn't been her, you both would have needed to move fast to shut down a hacker. It's ridiculous for her to make herself the victim because you worked her up and didn't ask nicely. She could have asked you nicely before just taking it." But with that being said, that's all the time we have for today. Now, if you want to hear another absolutely crazy Am I the Jerk Here story, check out that video on the left. Or if you missed my latest video, check out that video on the right. That said, I'll see you all next time with some more stories.